Let's jump right into today's explainer, guys. We are diving into an absolutely incredible survival story today. The story of Chikki the bird and her two little chicks, Chinku and Pinku. We're going to break down exactly how this seemingly ordinary mother navigates three utterly terrifying life or death trials. It is, honestly, a total masterclass in strategy, endurance, and just a mother's completely unstoppable willpower. This rain brings not just water, but hungry predators. Now, what's really fascinating about that quote from Tony the parrot is how it just instantly hooks us, right? It sets these terrifying baseline stakes for our story. We aren't just dealing with a little bit of bad weather here. We are looking at two highly vulnerable chicks left totally alone in a dark, rapidly flooding forest, all while their mom is out frantically searching for food. Nature is literally closing in from all sides and bringing the hungry predators right along with it. Okay, so Section 1, the storm's first strike, a mother's dilemma. Let's just start with her first major obstacle, the unforgiving force of nature keeping a desperate mom away from her starving kids. Back at the nest, we see this really brilliant contrast in how the chicks handle being isolated. So on one hand, you have Chinku. He curiously wonders if the sky is crying, right? He even pokes his little head out to investigate all the dripping water. But then you have Pinku, who is just cowering in fear. He's remembering his mom's strict warning that if lightning strikes while you're looking at it, you'll be turned to ash. It's a perfect illustration of innocent curiosity clashing head-on with paralyzing survival-based fear. It's actually a super fascinating look at how differently we all process a crisis. Some of us look for answers, while others just hide from the danger. Meanwhile, out in the elements, Chikki has managed to scrape together some grains of wheat. But here's the catch. She is physically grounded. The relentless, heavy rain has completely soaked her wings, making flight literally impossible. But honestly, the physical delay isn't even the worst part. While she's stranded on this branch, Tony the parrot tells her this horrifying story about a snake that just devoured an unguarded dove's chicks during a similar storm. I mean, imagine hearing that. This absolute paralyzing terror of her open, vulnerable nest is what forces Chikki to completely push past her physical limits. Which brings us to Section 2, outsmarting the hunters, mind over might. This part really illustrates how the narrative completely shifts, forcing Chikki to transition from just physical survival to rapid, cunning intellect. So, pushing through the dark, cold rain, Chikki is suddenly intercepted by two massive hunter birds, Sultan and Kalu. And oh man, they are thrilled to find a warm meal just delivered right to them in the storm. Chikki instantly realizes a super crucial fact here. She cannot win a fight using physical strength. I mean, she's tiny, she's wet, and she's totally exhausted. But she quickly figures out that these two guys have egos way bigger than their brains. Sultan's ego and Kalu's arrogance are just off the charts. So what does she do? She uses their own arrogant boasts of being the greatest predator right against them. Check out this brilliant divide and conquer strategy. Step 1, acknowledge. She completely strokes their egos, telling them, she'll only allow herself to be eaten by the one who is truly the most powerful hunter. Then, step 2, challenge. She pits them against each other to prove who's best. Sultan is bragging that he knocks birds right out of the sky, and Kalu counters claiming his claws bring instant death. And finally, step 3, escape. While these two massive birds lock into a brutal mid-air fight that literally leaves both of them battered and unconscious on the forest floor, she just quietly slips away into the night. A real masterclass in strategy. Sometimes fear is necessary, but bravery is staying grounded even after the fear sets in. When she finally gets back to her nest, the storm has passed. But that trauma, it definitely lingers. She finds Chenshu and Pinku trembling. And as she feeds them those hard-won grains of wheat, she imparts this incredibly beautiful grounding lesson. It totally validates their terror while completely redefining what true courage actually means. Moving right along to Section 3, the viral threat, an internal battle. Now we hit the third and definitely most devastating trial, where physical strength and clever tricks are completely useless. You can see on this timeline just how terrifyingly fast this viral infection spreads. By the morning after the storm, the physical toll is super evident. By day 1 morning, Chinku was huddled in a corner, his body just burning up with a severe fever, unable to even speak. Chikki wraps him in her wings, but by night 1, both chicks are suffering intensely. And then day 2 morning, the nightmare doubles. Pinku develops a heavy head and starts coughing. This infection is just moving like wildfire, rapidly overwhelming both of her children. Running purely on desperation, Chikki seeks out Dr. Chentu, the wise forest rat. After frantically rushing him back to the nest to examine the chicks, Chikki is just hit with agonizing reality. Dr. Chintu delivers a very grim prognosis. He tells her this is not just some common cold. It's a severe viral fever. The chicks' tiny bodies simply lack the fighting strength they need. He gives the medicine, sure, but bluntly states that medicine alone cannot perform miracles without the body's cooperation. Basically, there are zero guarantees of survival. Her children's fate is completely out of her hands. Will Chikki's children survive the night? With the medicine failing to show any immediate results, and her little chicks lying practically lifeless beneath her wings, we really have to pause and ask this terrifying question. Time has completely run out, and Chikki realizes that she just cannot fight this battle in the physical realm anymore. And that takes us to Section 4, A Mother's Plea, when logic fails. Driven to the absolute edge of despair, Chikki embarks on a drastically different, deeply spiritual approach to save her children. Leaving her chicks for what might literally be the very last time, she flies to Shot Shikhar, the Silent Peak. Now, this isn't just any old tree. It is the tallest tree right in the center of the forest, a profoundly sacred space where no predators ever go. It's known as the place where the sky and the soul become one. It's said that the very leaves and winds there speak the language of the universe. It basically represents that critical moment we all face when we've exhausted all earthly options and have nothing left but pure hope. Standing at that peak, totally exhausted and trembling, Chikki does something completely extraordinary. She doesn't beg, and she doesn't cry for mercy. Listen to this. I am a bird, yes, ordinary, but my maternal love is not ordinary. I am not here to beg, I am here to fight. She unleashes this rock-shattering, defiant demand for justice against the universe itself. She literally threatens that if justice doesn't exist, the scream of a dead mother will echo through the forest for generations. I mean, wow, actual chills. And finally, Section 5, The Ultimate Triumph. Nature Response. Watch how this intense climax actually resolves as the fabric of the forest reacts to her unyielding willpower. Following that earth-shattering demand, the mechanics of this miracle unfold perfectly in 3 steps. First, the ancient tree of the Silent Peak itself resonates, gently telling her to just return home. Second, Chikki flies back, her heart sinking but also strangely peaceful, like nature has finally answered her plea. And third, the absolute miracle. The very moment she steps back into the nest, the fever has broken. Chinku miraculously opens his eyes and weakly asks for water. Life has officially returned to her children. And by the very next morning, it is a completely different scene. The sickness is entirely defeated. The chicks are standing right at the edge of the nest, their eyes are bright, and strength has fully returned to their tiny beaks. Think about it. Having survived the terrifying storm, those vicious hunters, and a deadly virus, they aren't scared anymore. They are ready to learn to fly. Chinku even excitedly declares to his mom that today is the day. It's just such an incredible turnaround. So, having outsmarted predators, braved a deadly storm, and conquered a lethal virus, what force in the universe could ever truly defeat a mother's love? I really want to leave you with that final thought today. Chikki proved that while this world is full of unimaginable dangers, from the physical to the biological, a parent's willpower is a force of nature all its own. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, guys. Keep exploring, and I will catch you in the next one.